Right, what we've got here then are the brake rotors and pads for my 2016 Toyota Aygo, which we need to swap out quite urgently. Well, honestly, these were not as bad to look at as I thought, but yeah, they're bad enough anyway. You can see they're really heavily grooved. Okay, we need a T30. I don't think that's going to make it any better, but it's a loose fit though. It does seem to go in a little bit further, so it's not a tight fit though, so we'll see. Anyway. Not seized up, which was good. There's a little bit of rust on there, but at least this was steel on steel, so no white oxide obviously, and didn't mar up the head, came out nice and easily. So next step. Okay, for the next step then, I've got a 17mm socket, a 13mm socket, my breaker bar just tucked over the side, adapter, 13mm offset ring spanner, and my bungee strap. So let's undo some of these caliper bolts, or both of these caliper bolts. That one there and that one there. Those are the ones on the slider pins, so they are held captive, so they won't spin or anything like that. So I'm going to get the 13 in there. So this one here first, and let's see how tight that is. Not in the slightest bit, which is good news. It's very satisfying when you get that crack. So both the bolts are the same length, you can't mix them up. You can clean them up, which I'll do. It came off with a bit of thread lock, so which didn't seem to be having any effect. Anyway, they'll go back on, cleaned up, and I'll re-thread lock them. First rookie error. Just take the pressure off the brake. So I'm going to hang this up. I wouldn't normally do this when I'm working on the bikes. I wasn't going to go through there, no. Wouldn't normally do this when I'm working on the bikes because of the weight of this. I'm going to hang the caliper up. Minding its own business, not doing any harm. So this is what's making all the noise. Brake pads that are worn right down, and it's just metal clamping on metal rather than friction material. So right, let's undo the two 17s back here, and let's see if they turn freely. I'm guessing they're going to need a bit more. To undo them into the breaker bar. Actually using a hex socket, it might be easier to swap out to a yeah, I'm using a hex socket, it might be easier to swap out to a multi-point just to get the bar on, because otherwise, no, there you go, that's fine. Okay, let's see if we can shift that. Oh yeah, turn easily with a bit of torque on it. Just did that one. The carrier should just slide off, and the rotor should just come away. Again, the carrier bolts are exactly the same, so, and these don't look like they've been thread locked, so I'll just give them a clean up, put them back in as they are. Right, these really are nothing like as bad as I thought they were going to be. I mean, they're bad, but you know. These are pretty rotten. Absolutely nothing left of these, so we're going to slip these out and just get those little anti-squeal shims out and give them a little clean up, get the new pads back on and start bolting everything back up together. Right. They're moving freely, so I think what we might do is just pull them out and re-grease them. We'll do that one at a time. Looking okay though. It's nice and clean anyway, so I'm not going to go mad with it. I'm just going to give it a bit of a grease and pop it back in. Slips back on, it's nice and free. These rubbers were damaged, we should just replace them. They seem to be okay. Make sure you get any detritus out if you see any. But, I think if there was anything in there, there'd be stuff on here, so I think we're all good. There you go, it's just sort of popped itself back on, which is all good. Just get anything from around the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up these little seats. See, they're quite rusty, both sides. So the spring seats will need to just have a little clean as well, I think, so we'll do that. Everything's cleaned up as well as it could be, so I'm just going to slip these shims back in. Can be a little bit, well, you just got to get them in the right orientation, I think. So that's going to be that side, that's going to be that side, that is going to be that side, and that one therefore is going to be that side, isn't it? Yeah. Cool, okay, let's pop these back in. Yeah, they do have a slight orientation, so the bigger end goes in the middle, and you've got to have these little bits sticking out. So, I'm not sure, slide them on, or... press them on. There you go, just press them on. There you go. Cool. Right. It's a bit fiddly, but they're meant to be springy because that's the job. Okay. And if you just pay attention to how you took them off, you won't go wrong. Okay, so they'll look like they're in place. Good. Okay, let's take a look at the new pads. Being challenged by an elastic band now. Right, so differences are immediate. I'm just making sure we've got the right pads. Good, excellent. Yeah, so they're not in any way. We've got new shims. They're not. We don't have any sort of, well, they have perfect rotational symmetry, I should say. So there you go. We have got some piston movement to make with the old wind back tool, haven't we? So let's go and start slipping things back on. But yeah, these are pretty much, as you can see, that one right down to the rivets. That one's got a slither of pad left on it, nearly down to the rivets. But that's what you can hear grinding when your brakes are making that graunchy noise. It's the metal there on the actual disc itself. So they were still alive, barely. Let's slip these in. Should just perhaps we should pop a bit of copper grease onto the ears first. Do this without getting it all over the pad, obviously. Just slip that in. Okay. very liberal amount there, so it's just really to help ease them in. Yeah, put it around the right way would be a major benefit, wouldn't it? Okay, right. So let's go and slip the new disc on and wind back the piston on the caliper, shall we? I'm just going to start by taking off the brake fluid reservoir. Pop that somewhere. Okay. And that will just allow the fluid to come up as we wind the piston in. Let me just bring it over there. That should do it. Okay. Okay, so it's moving nice and easily, so I'm going to wind it all the way back in. I'm just having a little look over the top of the arch just to see the reservoir, and the fluid hasn't popped out the top, so that's good. Okay, that's wound all the way back. Pretty grotty, but we're not doing a brake caliper rebuild or anything like that. It's come up a little bit, but not much, so that's all fine. Right, let's slip the new caliper on, so I'm just going to get that hole lined up over there. Clean the bolt up. Just on the wire wheel. So slot that back in. It doesn't have to be super tight, it's held completely captive anyway by the wheel. I won't be able to do it super tight because I've got no brakes. Of course, on this side anyway. That should do. Make sure you got it seated properly, because that was a bit wonky. I thought that's got some run out, but actually it wasn't seated properly, so it's fine now. Just readjusted it. No run out on there anymore. Cool. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give this a little bit of a spray down whilst I've got all the calipers away from it. Right, annoyingly I've got a big pump spray of brake cleaner, and just decided to brake. So I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. This will do. If you can hear anything over the traffic noise, of course. The first thing I'm going to do is slip the carrier on. Alright, so that's got them started. I'm just going to wind them in, and then I think they need 89 newton meters of torque, which I'll do at the end. Looking slightly better than it was when I took it off, isn't it? Okay, let me go and get some copper grease on the back of those pads. I know that is a real Marmite thing, and yeah, it is one of those things where some people are really anti copper grease. This is so thick, it's going to need help. Yeah, so some people are very anti-copper grease. Personally, I don't mind. I think it's a extra little benefit. It's not going to go running all over your pads when you think your wheels are right down by the road. They're getting all kinds of grease and crap thrown at them. A lot worse than any smearing of copper grease will do, I think. So I need to give these a clean again. We'll do that before we put the wheels on, obviously. Right, next job, pull the caliper down and slot that over, and we should have enough clearance. I've pushed those pads right in and that caliper's wound right out, so let's slip that on. I don't live on a busy street, but you know what it's like when you're trying to do something, when you need a bit of peace and quiet, you're not going to get it. So, okay, right, hopefully. Got to feel that piston needs winding in just a tiny bit more. Bit of a yeah, it does. Okay. Good. Okay. Cleaned up these bolts. They're the 13mm ones. So I'm going to pop those in with a bit of blue thread locker. This can take about 20 minutes to cure, so you've got a bit of time to manoeuvre. Okay, so this was the 13mm. You can pretty much get in there with any type of spanner, but always best to use some sort of ring spanner. These are just a little tight to do by hand, so okay, I'm going to look up the torque spec on those. I've got a feeling there. Might be about 40 newton meters. I know the ones on the actual carrier are 89. So that was 89 on the carrier. I'm going to go 42 on these. They already seem to be there. Okay. Let's see if that goes down any. Should do. Yeah, not really. Just goes to show those pistons probably haven't come much further out. Just wedge the brake on again. If you're on your own, it's difficult to obviously hold the brake pedal down and test the disc isn't rotating. So let's go and have a quick look. Well, they're on. Okay. Coming in with a torque wrench just to do the very last test, and yeah, so I set that to 100 Newton meters, but I imagine I'd gone over that anyway with the breaker bar, so they're all good. That's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you did, please consider leaving a like and a comment, maybe even subscribe. Anyway, while you go and find yourself something more entertaining, I'm going to reposition the car on the drive and I'm going to do the other side. Bye for now.